Well, there are only a few games left before the end of the regular season. Soon some teams will go on vacation.
Hi.
But some players have been already there for a long time. Yes, you've seen the title of this video and already guessed that we're talking about our beloved French phenomenon, Victor Wembanyama. Victor's deep vein thrombosis forced him to end his NBA season much earlier than we all would have liked, leaving us with a heavy heart. However, every failure has its silver lining. Now is the perfect time to calmly and deliberately analyze and summarize the Frenchman's second season in the NBA. Let's explore together the aspects of Victor's game that have seen improvement since his debut year, and those where progress may not have been as noticeable as desired. In this video, I'm aiming to delve deeper than the usual statistics and dry numbers. Let's take a closer look at every match Victor Wembanyama played this season, analyzing his performance minute by minute to uncover the truth behind his journey this year. We won't just look at points, rebounds, and blocks, but we'll delve into the crucial moments, the pivotal games, and even those matches that might have been overshadowed. What was the reason behind his unique playing style? What factors influenced his performance? Did he experience any setbacks? And if so, what were the reasons behind them? All of this is crucial, as it's the only way to truly assess his progress, grasp his strengths and weaknesses, and simultaneously determine what to expect from him in the future. So get ready. We're about to embark on a comprehensive and honest analysis of the entire Wembanyama season. Victor Wembanyama's second season in the NBA was a true Hollywood blockbuster, featuring a captivating storyline, numerous ups and downs, and an unexpected finale. Before an injury cut short his career, the French unicorn had played in 46 out of 82 possible games, leaving behind a set of statistics that are definitely worth delving into. In terms of basic statistics, Wemby has made significant strides in nearly all key indicators. Points per game, 24.3 versus 21.4, rebounds, 11 to 10.6. Upon closer examination, let's divide all rebounds into offensive and defensive ones. The result reveals a progression in defensive rebounds, 9.2 compared to 8.4. But a slight decline in offensive rebounds, 2.3 in the first season, only 1.8 in the second. This is directly linked to Victor's shift in playing style, which we will discuss later. Game percentage, 47.6% versus 46.5%. What about the three-pointers? The percentage has increased from 32.5 to 35.2, but the more surprising thing is increase in the number of attempts per match, from 5.5 in the first year to 8.8 in the second. Turnovers decreased from 3.7 to 3.2, and blocks increased. As we can see, Victor's stats have improved significantly across almost all indicators. This is particularly surprising considering the numerous challenges the Frenchman faced at the beginning and end of the season. To make things easier, let's divide Victor's entire season into three separated periods. First segment, slump in October and early November. It's about 8-9 games. Segment number 2, a fantastic midseason spanning from mid-November to the end of the year with around 20 games. And segment number 3, thrombotic games from early January to the All-Star game, 15 to 16 games. Victor Wembanyama's first 10 games of the season were a real test. Not just for him, but for all his fans as well. It felt like a scene from the most intense thriller, where every moment gets scarier and scarier. After an amazing debut season, where Victor took the league by storm, everyone expected him to keep improving and achieving new heights. But reality turned out much harsher than anyone predicted. Instead of a strong start, fans saw struggles, unexpected slumps, and that dreaded sophomore slump many talented players go through. What used to come easy now felt difficult. Shots fell short, turnovers in easy situations, drives were shaky, and we all could see the frustration on his face. Opponents seemed to have figured out his weaknesses and used them against him. Adapting to the new challenges was much tougher than anyone thought. For Wembanyama's fans, it was especially hard to watch because they remembered his brilliance from last season and knew what he was truly capable of. In the very first game of the season, Victor scored just 17 points and went 1 for 8 from three-point range in a loss to Dallas. The second and third games were against another Texas team, the Rockets, and the Spurs split the series, 1-1. Wembanyama dominated Sengun in their first win, dropping 29 points. But in the second game, he managed only 14, and even Vic's 20 rebounds weren't enough to secure the victory. At this point, fans started whispering that Wembanyama wasn't quite living up to expectations. Though overall, his performance was still decent. But the real disaster came in Game 4. Oklahoma City absolutely crushed San Antonio, and our French phenom had one of the worst performances of his career. Just 6 points, a miserable 2 of 5 shooting, and 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. Numbers you'd expect from a bench player, not a future league superstar. Even in his rookie season, when Victor was still adjusting to the NBA, he never had such an awful scoring night. This collapse instantly became fuel for the doubters. Haters who had been lurking in the shadows suddenly came out with their "I told you so" takes. Social media exploded with claims that Wembanyama was the most overrated player in the league, that he only won Rookies of the Year because of hype, not merit. Critics who'd spent the past year arguing that Chet Holmgren should have won the award were especially loud. They kept repeating that real stars don't have meltdowns like this. Even on bad nights, they still put up respectable numbers. And it wasn't just one bad game. The slump kept going. Versus Minnesota, 17 points, 1 for 7 from 3. Versus Houston, again, their third matchup, 15 points, 1 for 6 from deep. Versus Portland, 12 points, 2 for 6 from 3. The trend was obvious. Victor kept forcing up threes despite shooting just 25-30% from deep. For a player of his caliber, those numbers were rough. Fans and so-called experts were baffled. Dude, you're 7'4". Attack the rim instead of chucking threes. So why was Victor struggling so badly early in the season? The answer was obvious to anyone who watched those first games. The guy looked gassed, physically and mentally. It seemed like he never fully recovered after carrying France's Olympic team in Paris. Think about it. Playing for your country at a home Olympics? Massive pressure. Leading an underdog squad to the finals? Even bigger. Dropping 27 points and nearly dethroning Team USA? Legendary effort. France's run was incredible, but that kind of grind leaves a mark. By the time NBA season tipped off, Wemby was running on fumes. To sum it up, through the first stretch of his sophomore NBA season, Victor's stats told the story. 18 points, 10.5 rebounds, just 23% from 3. Then came the wake-up call. An anonymous scout told ESPN what would soon become a legendary burn. Wembanyama, he's not impactful at all on the offensive end. By Game 10 of the season, Wembanyama finally found a way to turn things around. His comeback started with a heartbreaking 111-110 loss to Utah. The Spurs took the loss, but the French phenom nearly dropped a triple-double with blocks. 24 points, 16 rebounds, 7 blocks. And most importantly, 6-9 from 3, proving to himself that his shooting was still there. But Vic wasn't done. He followed it up with a statement game against Sacramento, 34 points, 14 rebounds, and another 6 threes. Suddenly, the real Wembanyama was back, and the league remembered why he's the future. The very next game, absolute domination against Washington and a new career high. 50 points, 8 out, 16 from 3. The final stretch of 2024 turned into Victor Wembanyama's personal triumph. The French phenom took the NBA by storm with unforgettable performances, including a sniper's masterclass versus Atlanta, 42 points, 7 threes, pure fire. His first Christmas game at Madison Square Garden versus the Knicks, another 42-point explosion. Even in a tough loss, the Garden crowd applauded the league's new superstar. But the peak moment? An epic duel with the reigning king of big men, Nikola Jokic. In this clash of generations, Wemby won the first leg of their back-to-back with 35 points, 18 rebounds, 4 blocks. From mid-November to December's end, Victor's stats were monstrous. 28.5 points, 10 rebounds, 4+ blocks, and 38% from 3 on 10 attempts. During this stretch, he cracked the MVP top 5, outranking established stars like Luka, Tatum, and Brunson. This was more than just a hot streak. It was a declaration that the Wembanyama era had officially begun. As 2025 approached, all signs pointed to even greater dominance from the French center. Victor had finally found his rhythm in the NBA, perfected his game, and stood ready to shatter every expectation. But the basketball gods had other plans. On January 5th, 2025, Victor Wembanyama celebrated his 21st birthday, an age symbolizing adulthood in America. Yet, in a cruel twist of irony, just as he legally came of age, basketball fortune abandoned him. Fans watching the Spurs in January immediately noticed something was off. Victor looked drained, his body language screaming exhaustion. He was playing on fumes, pushing through what seemed like pure physical limits. The confusion was palpable. How is this happening? LeBron at almost 60 plays back-to-backs like it's nothing, but Wemby's already gassed by January? The answer came on February 20th when Shams dropped a bomb. Victor Wembanyama is expected to miss the remainder of the season with a deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. Now, it all made sense. A 7'4" athletic freak doesn't just lose his battery. There had to be a reason. Deep vein thrombosis wasn't just fatigue or a minor tweak. It was a silent, progressive condition sapping his agility, explosiveness, and endurance over time. And so ended Chapter 3 of Wembanyama's sophomore season, what I call the thrombosis era. His stats during the stretch: 22 points, 12 rebounds, 3.5 blocks, and 30% from 3 solid numbers for most. But for Victor, a shadow of his November-December dominance. The efficiency dip, the labored movements, it wasn't just a slump. It was his body warning him. Even during this grueling stretch, there were flashes of brilliance, reminders of why Wemby is special. Like, for example, the NBA Paris game against Indiana: 30 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks. A vintage Wemby masterclass to seal the Spurs' win on his home soil. Or his unexpected All-Star Weekend rebellion, where Vic with CP3 tried to hack the skills challenge, because why not? Then dropped jaws in the actual All-Star game, playing with unmatched defensive intensity in what's usually a no-effort showcase.
Yes.
Victor Wembanyama was warming up like it was a real game. He brought a book to the game, read just like he always does.
Oh, in the post.
Doing stuff like
That's what I'm talking about. That Rich. Ball ain't doing that.
His pregame promise? I'll change how people approach this game. And he delivered, hounding relaxed veterans like a playoff game. Now, knowing he played through a developing thrombosis, that all-star performance hits differently. Imagine pain creeping in, a blood clot silently worsening. Yet he gave 100%, not for stats, but for the love of the game. This wasn't just talent. This was champion's grit. Victor proved that night he's not just a really tall dude, he's a warrior. While most stars treated it as a glorified shoot-around, Wembanyama played like it was Game 7, especially on defense. Now, with the full context of his health struggle, this performance becomes legendary. Victor Wembanyama's second NBA season proved one thing beyond doubt. He belongs among the league's elite. That dominant December stretch wasn't just good, it was top 5 player good. And few would argue otherwise. We'll always wonder what could have been. Without the blood clot cutting his campaign short, I'm 100% sure that Wembanyama was tracking toward Defensive Player of Year award and All-NBA selection. That's not speculation of the Spurs fan. It was the inevitable conclusion of his play. Through Olympic fatigue and a season-ending illness that dragged down his numbers, Victor Wembanyama's sophomore NBA campaign still stands among the most dominant center performances in league history. For example, the French phenom recorded his second career 5x5 in just his first Utah matchup. A monstrous 25-point, 9 rebound, 7 assist, 5 steal, 5 block masterclass that reminded everyone why he's rewriting the rulebook for big men. And by the way, it marks only the 23rd 5x5 since the NBA began recording steals and blocks in the 1973-74 season. Rockets legend Hakeem Olajuwon holds the record with 6. He, former Jazz forward Andrei Kirilenko, and now Wembanyama are the only players in league history with multiple 5x5s. Wemby has officially joined the NBA's center elite. He became one of 7 players in history to average at least 24, 11, 3, and 40 or more games, joining Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 5 times, Hakeem Olajuwon 4 times, David Robinson 3 times, Patrick Ewing 2, Shaquille O'Neal, and Bob McAdoo. But most importantly, He's the youngest on the list. Among the players above that accomplished those seasons before Wemby, the average age was 27.4 years old. If he can have a career with moderate health, you will see his name duplicated as many times as Kareem. From his rookie to sophomore year, Vic improved his efficiency in the core four areas on the floor. At the rim, 69.9 to 75.4%, floater range, 39.8 to 50.5%, mid-range jumpers, 33.7 to 40.1%, above the break threes, 31.3 to 35.9%. It only took one offseason for him to get noticeably stronger and own the paint. He went from a respectable finisher inside to one of the league's best. Out of all 108 players to attempt at least 200 shots within 8 feet of the basket, Wembanyama ranks 10th in conversion rate. That's a massive improvement, because last season he was just 51st. As a shot blocker, Vic is already crafting a legendary resume that defies his young age. The advanced metric of block percentage, which calculates how many opponent field goal attempts a player blocks while on the court, reveals his historic impact. In NBA history, only 9 seasons have seen players maintain a 10% plus block percentage, minimum 40 games. At just 21, Wembanyama already accounts for 2 of those seasons, joining Manute Bol as the only players with multiple campaigns at this elite threshold. But Wembanyama's defensive value extends far beyond the highlight rejections that you like watching in TikTok. Victor's mere presence on the court creates a psychological deterrent. Guards and wings would visibly alter their drives, hesitating to challenge his domain. The painted area wasn't just protected by Wembanyama, it was unquestionably his territory. A no-fly zone established through overwhelming physical tools and impeccable timing that's unprecedented for a player his age. When Vic returns for his 3rd season in a few months, the Spurs will naturally be expected to make another leap forward. But knowing Wemby's relentless drive and competitive fire, these expectations won't surprise him. They'll be exactly what he demands of himself. His career arc is drawing inevitable comparisons to a young LeBron James 2 decades ago, when the basketball world collectively recognized they were witnessing the emergence of the planet's next dominant force. If this sophomore campaign was merely the opening act, we're likely looking at a future filled with multiple MVP trophies and Defensive Player of the Year honors. The scary part? He's only just beginning to tap into his limitless potential. So what will Victor Wembanyama 3.0 look like? We're not talking about just an upgraded version of the player, but a true basketball revolution in human form. We're witnessing a phenomenon that combines seemingly incompatible qualities. The deadly accuracy of a long-range sniper with the unstoppable power of a classic center in the paint. Imagine a player who can casually sink 7-8 three-pointers per game as if it were practice, then instantly switch to dominating under the basket, finally learning to fully utilize his phenomenal 224 cm height. This won't be just a combination of skills. It's an entirely new approach to the game that previously could only be realized in video games. Defenders will face an impossible nightmare. How do you guard such a unique player? Give him space on the perimeter and he'll mercilessly punish you with deadly accurate shooting. Play tight defense at the arc and Victor will easily drive to the basket where his height and wingspan make him virtually unstoppable. And when defenses adjust by throwing 2, 3, even all 5 players at him, everyone will remember Wembanyama is also an exceptional playmaker capable of finding the open teammate. This isn't just another step in basketball's evolution. It's a complete revolution in our understanding of what a big man can be. After his injury comeback, we may witness the birth of an entirely new phenomenon. A basketball cyborg unlike anything the game has ever seen. A player who defies all conventional frameworks, shatters every stereotype, and forces us to rethink the very philosophy of basketball. Are we ready for this? No. But you should be, because it's inevitable. The future of basketball is already here.